welcome to the first episode one of Becoming You. If this is your first time meeting me, probably on camera. When I used to record podcast before, when it was still a coffee break with Julia, it was more of just the audio, right? And you haven't really seen me. Anyways, this is Nala. Meet my little baby. Yeah, she is really tired today. Anyways, I am the girl behind I'm Becoming a Blog. I'm the girl behind Becoming You podcast, up and coming podcast for all us dreamers. Yes, dreamers. What do I mean? Oh, she's running. Okay. So, yes, for today's episode, we're just doing a little get to know me, I guess, a little what is up and coming, the idea behind Becoming You. Why did I rebrand from, I guess, Coffee Break with Julia to be suddenly changing it to Becoming You podcast? Sorry, I was looking at the little time thing. Anyways, why it became Becoming You, and of course, just a little introduction of why I chose the name. So, yes, so hopefully you enjoyed. Go grab a cup of coffee, go grab your tea, any beverage that you would prefer, and sit down and let's get to it. This is actually like my first time like sitting here recording a podcast with video actually. Like I've done this a couple times, couple times, and then life got busy. Isn't that always our excuse? But no, seriously though, life really did get busy and Coffee Break with Julia kind of just like paused. So this is me here. Hi, hello. How are you? So for today's special guest, guys, please meet Nala, my little baby I mentioned earlier. I don't know if I told you guys her name, but yes, this is Nala. She may or may not actually keep us company the whole entire episode, but we shall see. Anyway, so yeah, and I am the girl behind Amica May blog that I launched about 3 years ago, actually. Wow, has it really been 3 years already? 3 years. Yeah, 3 years. 2021. I launched it January 2021. So we've come a long way and we're doing podcasts now. So for today, we're just going to do a little chit chat, like I mentioned earlier. So, yeah, why? You all are probably wondering why did I suddenly change Coffee Break with Julia to Becoming You or the Becoming You podcast? Well, a couple of months ago, or when I like kind of took a break from recording um, Coffee Break with Julia, I was actually like in the middle of recording an episode, and then I went like, this doesn't seem like, it doesn't feel me, it doesn't feel right. And then I was like, something feels like I should re-record the whole episode, and then I ended up not recording it. So I took a break from it, and then I want to create a podcast. I want to create content that really goes back to like the root of why I ended up creating Amica Maya blog at the first place. And I created Amica Maya blog to share my own mental health journey. It was like an escape place for me, like a safe haven where I could share like my thoughts and maybe hopefully let like somebody, you know, if you come across the content, then you could probably relate to it and know that, oh, you're not alone in this journey because throughout my own mental health journey, I kind of felt alone and I felt like there was nobody, I felt like there was actually nobody on my side, and I was like on this journey of um, like finding myself or more of like trying to figure out who I was and in this like world with like billions and billions of people, I felt like, oh my gosh, um am I really the only one experiencing this? Am I the only one like feeling like I'm completely behind everyone? So it kind of felt like that. And then so I started writing, like it was more of like a virtual diary of sorts where I was like sharing my thoughts, sharing my own like the lessons I learned and all of that in hopes, to just really let somebody anybody out there know that you're not alone in this journey. And then um so that kind of like went all over the place, of course, because I was also like while writing that, while creating Amikamea content and all of that, I was also still in the process of slowly discovering myself. And when I started recording Coffee Break with Julia, I was like, oh, coffee, because like if anybody, everybody, you know me, I am a complete coffee addict. I need my caffeine fix for the day. So yeah, so I was like, oh, let's do like Coffee Break with Julia, because like when you take a coffee, like you're on break like in the middle of the day, either in school or like back in college or at work. When you take a break, you grab a cup of coffee, grab a cup of tea, and then you just go out there and you're gonna have like a little chit chat with your friends and like share whatever problems you're having, or just like a little chit chat. So at first that was like the idea behind Coffee Break with Julia. We're gonna sit down, we're gonna do a little chit chat, and then I was like, after a couple episodes, I went, I kind of want to rebrand this whole thing, and I want to go back to the root of everything. And then, well, throughout my journey, I had this like saying to myself where I was like, you got to find yourself. Like, if you were asked a question, um, describe yourself in 3 words, how would you answer that question? And then for years, it took me, like, I had this like ready script of how to describe myself. I would always go kind, sporty, um, friendly, or friendly, sporty, passionate, and all of that. And it's like a ready script where people would like accept those answers and not really ask questions. And I went, okay, okay. And then, as I was always afraid of like people judging me and all of that. And then I went, that in that moment in time, I went, hmm, I'm tired of scripted answers. It's like I wanna find me. I wanna find a real me. I wanna be able to answer those questions honestly and say, oh, like what are the 3 words that describe you? And then I would just like, just say whatever answers. This was like 4 or 5 years ago. And I went, that's enough. I I need to I need to find myself. I need to find Julia. Like I need to be able to answer the question like, oh, when they ask me like, oh, who's Julia? Who are you? Like who are you without your parents? Like helping you? Who are you without your siblings? Who are you without like your family? Who is you? Just like purely authentic you. I was like, I want to be able to answer that question. So I went on this like own self healing and self journey of like becoming Julia. It's like a little project of myself that I called it. I was like, oh, so becoming Julia, becoming the real Julia. So it kind of started there, and then a couple of months ago, I came across this like, I think it's a book where there's this challenge as well on YouTube, and I think yeah, that people have been doing. It's called like becoming her, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then when I was like watching the videos and all of that on it, and I was like, oh, that's like very similar to what I was doing a couple years back. And then I went, but it's like becoming her. Oh, okay, she's on the run again. I want to share it with everyone out there. So instead of it just becoming her or becoming Julia, I went, why not becoming you? Because this is you discovering who you are. So anybody coming across that challenge can be able to answer the question of becoming you. It's very simple. It's the becoming the real and authentic you. So who is you without everybody else around you? So I was like, I want to be able to, you know, share that because it really helped me. So I went, yeah, why not rebrand Coffee Break with Julia with still the um, idea behind of sharing our journey, sharing our passions, and just doing a little chit chat, but being able to still be on that journey of self discovery. I was like, yeah, becoming you. Who are you? Like, become the real you, the person you want to be, not the person others want to be. So I was like, oh yeah, I like the idea of becoming you because that project, like the becoming Julia project, like really really helped me. So I was like, yeah, why not? So that is the story behind Becoming You podcast, why I started it and the idea behind it. And yeah, so as I sit here and share this with you, it's more of a my own little passion project of myself that I wanted to share. I wanted to be able to bring it out there and go with our crazy world of busy in school, busy at work, and then a couple of years just right after the pandemic of trying to find us. We spent like 2 years really isolated from the rest of the world, and I wanted, I wanted to be able to share that, sharing the finding ourselves again, especially after the pandemic, after a completely like I guess new world. That's still very similar, but still very different from what the world was like back in 2019. And so yeah, like when you ask me, when you ask me like who are you, Julia? Like, can you describe yourself in like 3 words? And I would go, I'm a passionate person. So passionate. I'm a dreamer. I have big dreams. I love to dream about and manifest life that I always wanted. That okay, so these are my goals. This is my dreams. These are my passions to be able to reach that, and I'm a fighter because the 10 years from the time I turned 20 to almost turning 30 in a couple of months, I went, wow, I've been through so many. And I never realized how strong of a person I am after, going through all of that. So I was like, I am a passionate person, I am a dreamer, and I'm a fighter. So if you ever ask me, like, oh, describe yourself in 3 words, then I would be able to give you that. Not scripted at all. Those are the 3 words that I actually chose, like, among hundreds, because you only make me choose three, right? But I could still probably find like hundreds of words out there to describe who I am as a person. I'm, of course, still a work in progress. So, yeah. So, yeah, this becoming is it's simple. It's basically like what the 2 words really mean. And the one thing when I chose becoming you, I was like, oh, like apart from that, like why choose becoming you? And in the blog that I wrote, I was like, who are you without all the past hurt, trauma, and comparisons? Like growing up, I was always compared. Like not my immediate family. It's more of like uncles and aunts and all of that. Comparing us cousins. And honestly, like at first, like when I was growing up, I was like, oh, this is nothing. Like this is completely normal. Like I guess maybe in an Asian household because I'm Asian, and I was like, oh, it's just completely normal. Like oh, they'll compare you, like to make you work harder and all of that. So that's what I always thought. And then the older I got, when I got to college, I realized that wait, this isn't right because it made me resent them so much. It made me resent the people around me so much because I'm working so hard. Sorry, no, it's like walking around. I was like, I'm walking. I'm working so hard, and then I'm working so hard, but like, why do I feel like my hard work isn't being appreciated? Like, all I wanted to hear was a simple good job, well done. Or if I didn't do good, then be like, it's okay. There's always next time. Why did you only get that position? Why only that? Why not better and all of that? And honestly, it became like this traumatic experience where I went, why do I feel that I'm being pushed off to the side where my cousin is being praised? Like, oh, good job, she became this, she got this position, this was her grades, oh, she's graduating soon, or all of that. And then they'll go, how about you? Yeah, the most traumatic phrase that I ever, for me personally, that I ever heard was, Julia has no direction in life. She's probably just going to live off her parents' money. The moment I heard that phrase, it broke me. Like, it wasn't directly said it like towards me, but it was more said like towards um, people around me and people who I trusted, and then it just it got like I ended up hearing it through them, and it broke me. Like, it broke me to a million pieces, and I went, I do have dreams, I do have goals. I may be slower than, a lot of people out there, a lot of people that but that doesn't mean that I don't have a direction in life. I'm still trying to figure out that direction, because so many things happen in between, and um, life isn't as picture perfect as, you know, movies say or books say or as we imagined. I was like, being an adult is actually pretty hard, especially an adult who I had to uproot my life after I graduated high school from Papua New Guinea to moving 1,000 miles away to Manila, where even though technically my family's from there, um, I was in a place that I was completely familiar with. I was familiar, but at the same time, I was also a stranger. Like, yeah, I can speak the language. I've been home there a couple of times, but it wasn't really home. I was only there for vacations, not really to live there permanently. And then after high school, I moved there permanently. And so yeah, I was like fitting into this whole different culture, fitting into a whole entire new educational system, and then trying to, not break a routine that people had already set at home, and trying to, work around that routine of theirs, but at the same time also trying to build my own routine. So it was like a mixture of like so many things. And then hearing that, I went, I know I worked so hard to become this person that I am. And then you just tell me that I have no direction in life, that my family is probably just going to, um, you know, give me allowances for the rest of my life. And it it broke me. Like, I didn't know what to do or, say after that. And every time I think that, like, oh my gosh, whew, like, I still get emotional, but like, yeah, like, it hurts me, of course, but at the same time, like, right now I'm completely like, it's okay. Like, you said that, but it ended up turning me into a much stronger person um that I thought. So yeah, the first time I remember, like, when I got my first paycheck, and when I started working and I got my first paycheck, and I remember sitting there going, um I had no words, like, just like purely no words. And I was like, I remember getting like teary eyed, and I went, this is what you were saying, that I was just going to live off my parents' money. Um, but this paycheck that I got was actually from my own hard work. And I was like, yeah, it's not a job that I actually thought I was going to end up doing, but it was a job that I was so, so, so thankful for. It was a job that, like, I became, like, more confident in myself. Like, I ended up believing in myself again. So, yeah, to the people out there, if you're listening to this, then you know how thankful and grateful I am, each of you, each and every one of you. Yeah, still getting a little teary eyed when you think of it. But, well, that moment, like, it brought me back to the whole becoming Julia. Like, who is Julia without all of these other people around her? Who is the more unique me? Because, each of us is different. Like, I ended up learning the hard way that each of us are different. Or, yeah, we're similar in some ways, but we're each our own unique person. So I created the whole Becoming Julia project of mine where I want to rediscover who I am. Like, I remember this free spirited 18-year-old who was like ready to conquer the world. And then she disappeared, where right now she's like holding back from so many things. And up until today, I still find it so hard to really open up to people. It's because I'm always so scared of just slow, like opening up again, like being a more confident person. It's a work in progress. Like, I'm not saying that I'm completely like 100% the person I want to be, but I can tell you for a fact that I am definitely way better person than I was a couple of years back, especially after before I started Amiga Mea. So that was like 2020. Yeah, that was a 2020 was like a more um finding myself. Like, it was that turning point in life when I went, enough's enough. Like, let's like let's do this, basically. Anyways, so yeah, so becoming Julia, I was like, I want to be that unique person again. I want to be me. So who was that person? So over the couple of years, like past 2 years actually, since we're to almost like towards the end of 2024, I discovered like my love for art all over again. I remember when I went to art school. I was in business school for a bit, and I absolutely loved that. Like, I learned a lot from that stuff that I learned there that I still apply to my job, to everyday, life, and it made me a confident person in a way, like confident, way more confident than I was when I was 18. And after business school, I went to art school and I took a photography course. But like, we had requirements, like prerequisite classes, where we had to take other non-photography courses. And I remember taking a color theory class, which was where we studied, as its namesake, color theory. So like, we studied the color wheel, and then when we apply it more into like paintings and our photography and all of that. And I remember when in that class we did like a bunch of paintings, and one of the one of the projects that I think it was like our midterm project, where we had to paint a portrait of ourselves. And I remember like when I got into that, I was like, I had so much fun, even though it was in a way stressful. I had like so much fun. I remember like every time I would pick up that paintbrush and I would go, "Oh my gosh, like this is actually pretty calming, pretty it became like a de-stressor." And then so that was like the start of it. And then after the color theory class, I had a freehand class where we were taught to do like sketches. And one of the like mini projects, it was just like a class project. Um, Nothing big or anything. It was one of those early lessons that we were doing where my professor was like, okay, get your like sketch pad and then go out of the building, like of our school building, and then just sit, I don't know, outside the building or on the sidewalk, wherever, just go sit. And I want you to take your pen and your sketchbook. We weren't even allowed to use a pencil at all. And your sketchbook, and just sit there and sketch whatever you saw that was in front of you. So it could be, but it had to be 15 people. It wasn't like you couldn't like sketch a thing, it had to be people. And the challenge was to your pen, you couldn't lift it. So like when you were sketching, you weren't allowed to lift it and stop and like sketch again. No, it had to be like a continuous like just sketch. And um and you weren't also allowed to look down at your paper. So the lesson behind it was your pen and your hand and your brain basically were all connected. So they were like one thing, basically one self. So like your pen, whatever you see gets translated to your hand, and then your hand just makes it work. And I remember like enjoying it so much, and I was like, "Oh my gosh." That like reignited my passion for art. And then it kind of disappeared again after school. And then during the pandemic, I kind of got back into it. So yeah, I ended up rediscovering that love of art, that I am more artistic. I'm more of an artist than I am a academic person. I would rather sit, draw, and paint than write like research papers and all of that, or like go through law books or go through med school and all of that. I was more of the artsy type. Like, funny enough though, I enjoy numbers when it comes to more finance than the more conventional, geometry and math and all of that. I enjoy like numbers when it's the more finance side. And then apart from that, I ended up discovering that I loved writing. That's how Amika became a thing. Um, when I discovered that I was actually more of a creative writer. I hated writing research papers like book reports and all of that, but I absolutely loved creative writing. I remember like back in high school enjoying my creative writing classes than I did writing book reports and other papers. So yeah, I ended up loving that. And most importantly, like of course this is just like the little things that I picked out from that in that Becoming Julia project of mine's. Um Another and the most important thing that I figured out, I learned about myself was I am a fighter. I remember back in 20 I'd say about 2019, um where I was like hitting rock bottom and I went, I can't do this anymore. I remember like going through um a lot, and then just really sitting there saying like, who am I? Like I at that moment in time I didn't know who I was anymore. I was like this person that I couldn't like recognize on my own. And then I went, should I give up? Like, should I just like stop? Like, I can't do this anymore. Like, is it, should I give up? And I went, I don't want to give up, but at the same time I didn't know how to fix everything, to fix myself, to pick up the pieces of hurt, pain, trauma, everything. And I was just hitting rock bottom. And then, luckily enough, I know, like, for some of us, the pandemic was, in terms of traveling, and seeing people, it was like a depressing time. But apart from that, I was actually a little thankful for that time because I was able to come home and come home, kind of reconnect with my roots and really figure everything out. And then it was through that where I discovered that I was a fighter. Because when I was hitting rock bottom, I came back here and started living life again, like day by day. Like, wake up the next day and go, okay, today we don't have to do anything hard. We just have to live through the day. You know, just doing, like, I don't know, little things, baby steps. Could be like reading a book, it could be writing, it could be just little baby steps. And then the next day, same thing, until every day we started doing, taking bigger steps until I'm who I am today. Happier, um, mental health wise, doing way better. Uh, Not as, I guess, depressed as I used to be. Thoughts, positivities, positive thoughts um, are more there than there are negative thoughts about life. And even though I have hard days, I am able to go, it's okay. Today's a hard day, but tomorrow will be better, and all of that. And apart from that, yeah, like, I'm more passionate. Like, I figured out little things I want to do in life. I'm, of course, still in the middle of, like, figuring everything out. And then it was through all of that where I was like, well, I am actually a fighter. Because somewhere in between, I was able to tell myself, enough's enough. I mentioned that, I think, a couple of um, scenes ago, where I went, enough's enough. Like, I have to find myself again. And I was able to do that in the midst of everything that was going on around me, like all the pain. Like, what I meant by, like, everything that's going on around me, it was more of, like, everything that's going on in my head. So I was able to go through that, and I was like, oh, I'm actually stronger than I thought I was. And it was just through the small, like, baby steps every day. That's why I like telling people, like, if you're going through a hard time today, it's okay. Baby steps. Every day is not the most perfect day. Tomorrow will be better. If not, the next day would be better. Like, it's always like that. So it's baby steps. Let's take everything one step at a time. That's what I like telling people. Um, when, they say, oh, how are you able to get through everything? So I was like, yeah, baby steps, which is true. And, positive thoughts. I know it's hard. I was like, I know it's hard. But you just have to tell yourself, today will be better, or tomorrow will be better. And then telling myself the most important thing was, it's never too late to start. Because I remember, like, I think it was like 27 when I went, wow, I am 27, and what am I doing with life? And I just started working, and I'm going, like, working in a more corporate setting, because I used to work for an NGO for a bit, and this was more of, like, the more corporate setting stuff. And I was like 27, and I was like, what are you doing with life and all of that? And then I went, it's okay. It's like, it's okay. It's never too late to start. I'm 29 right now. I could be 30, 31, and still being able to discover, like, new things about myself, new passions about myself. And, that's fine. Like, every day is a new day. We have our own pace in life, and so it's fine. You could be 40, 41, 50, however old, but still rediscovering new things about yourself, and that's fine. Like, in our world today, it's like a world of, like, competitiveness, and a world of social media where, like, we see everything, and we see, like, the life of people around us, and it's like, oh, they're living their life. Why am I still here? on my couch eating a bag of chips. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with that. I do that sometimes. I sit on the couch and eat a bag of chips and contemplate my choices in life. Is that wrong? No, it's not. That's completely fine. So yeah, so that's how really like the becoming you. Yeah, like that. I like calling it like your project because it's like that small like side hobby of yours or side thing of yours that you're doing, kind of like where you're creating an art piece or something, but that art piece is you, because of course you want to be that masterpiece that you created. I like I think on the more artistic side where I see myself as like a blank canvas, or I see myself as a canvas that I'm currently working on to be able to create the masterpiece that I want. Not what others would consider a masterpiece, but what I would consider a masterpiece. So yeah, that's why I like calling it my little project. So yeah, that's how really what becoming you is for that little space of ours where I just sit here, talk about um, the little things in life where could help others, or just a little chit chat where the lessons I've learned of how I am who I am today, and how I was able to get through many different phases in life in the past decade, to become a much stronger, better version of myself. And of course, like, maybe along the way, have some special guest share little things about becoming themselves. Because, of course, my story is different, somebody else's story is different. So, yeah, baby steps. Let's start, like, things one step at a time. So, yeah, like episode one is more of like chit chat, but, I just wanted to really sit here and have a little chit chat with everyone, and, let others discover. And yeah, our 20s is more about discovering ourselves. It's more like, I like to call it like a trial and error period in our lives where, we discover like who we are, we discover our likes, our dislikes, and all of that. And then like applying it the following year, and then later on the following decade. Like for me, I'm about to enter another decade in my life, and the lessons I will be able to take into that new decade is like so much. But I would be able to face it a whole lot differently than when I was about to enter my 20s. So, yeah. So, like, that's what Becoming You podcast is about. It's about us dreamers, and because, everybody is a dreamer, and everybody has dreams, everybody wants to become their own unique self, but at the same time, maybe a little lost and don't know where to start or how to get there. And I want to sit here and be able to tell you that I was in your place, and I'm still in that place where I'm in a journey of discovering myself. I'm a big dreamer. I have a lot of dreams, and for me to reach those dreams, I gotta work hard. But not just work hard financially, to be able to reach my dreams, to become more unique me. So, yeah, that's it. Well, that's it for episode one, and I hope to see you guys on episode two. Sorry, that looks like four. Episode two. Bye, guys. Thank you all, and much love. I hope you guys um, enjoyed episode one, and yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one. Then I hope you guys have a lovely week, and thank you so much for all the love. If you are new here, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the Becoming You family, the Dreamers. And yeah, go follow Amika Maya blog as well, where I share a lot about my own mental health journey, my own discovering my 20s journey. And yeah, I will see you guys again in 2 weeks. So yeah, we're gonna be releasing new episodes every other week. So this week and then nothing next week and then the following week. So yeah, thank you guys. Much love. Like I always said, we're all dreamers. Everybody's a dreamer. We're all welcome here in this one big family of ours that we're currently still creating, and we're always going to be creating. See you all in the next episode. Bye. Go out there, become dreamers, go reach your goals, and of course, don't forget that it's never too late to start.